My boss, the man I once admired and looked up to for motivation, humiliated me in front of the entire company. Under the harsh glow of the stage lights, with cameras flashing and whispers turning to laughter, he reduced years of my work to a single cruel punchline. My name is Adam Reed, 42 years old, senior brand manager at Velong, one of the fastest-growing fashion brands in the country. I wasn't born into privilege. I didn't intern in Paris or network over champagne. I worked my way up. Late nights, unpaid overtime, pitching ideas in rooms where no one remembered my name, until they needed results. I was never flashy. I was never loud. But my work spoke, and for years it spoke loud enough. Until the day he decided to silence me. It was our quarterly company summit, a grand event held in Velong's Manhattan showroom, a glass palace filled with flowers, screens, photographers, and egos. Everyone important was there. Department heads, marketing leads, creative directors, even a few investors. And at the center, as always, was Nathan Vaughn, CEO, fashion icon, and the kind of man who made arrogance look like leadership. He took the stage, microphone in one hand and confidence dripping from every movement. "Morning, everyone," Nathan said smoothly, his voice carrying like it owned the room. "Let's talk about what we've done well and what we've done less well." A murmur of polite laughter. Then he smirked and turned toward the giant LED screen behind him. Case in point, one of our campaigns from earlier this year. With a swipe of his hand, the slide changed. Campaign, under 25, redefined rebellion, graphs, drop in engagement, flat conversion. Then his eyes, sharp calculating, locked on me. This, Nathan said, pausing for effect, was the brainchild of one of our trusted minds. He let the silence hang. Then Adam Reed, every head turned. I felt the weight of 100 stares. I straightened in my seat, already rehearsing the points I'd bring up. The market data, the last-minute changes that weren't mine, the fact that this wasn't what I'd pitched. But Nathan wasn't looking for discussion. He looked right at me, smile sharp as glass. "Adam," he said into the mic, "was this campaign meant to speak to Gen Z, or put them to sleep?" Uneasy chuckles flickered across the room. "I mean, really," he continued, strolling across the stage like a late-night comic. "We called it Redefined Rebellion, but this feels more like tax season meets high school yearbook." "Was that the idea?" Louder laughter now. People laughing because it's safer than silence. I gripped the mic in front of me, but Nathan raised his hand like a conductor stopping music. No, let me finish," he said smoothly. "It's impressive how someone can take a youthful rebellion theme and make it feel like an insurance ad from the 90s. This time, the laughter wasn't nervous. It was open, emboldened. Nathan smiled wider. "Next time, Adam, maybe run it past someone who actually knows what TikTok is, Even a few of my own teammates laughed. Not because they wanted to, but because the CEO just gave them permission. I set my mic back down slowly. My jaw locked so tight it hurt. My heart pounded so hard I thought it might shake the table. But I didn't break. Because I knew something Nathan didn't, I don't explode. I calculate the campaign he blamed me for. It wasn't mine anymore. I'd built the framework, yes. But in the final month, Nathan's golden boy, an inexperienced creative director Nathan personally appointed, hijacked the concept and pushed through last-minute edits that gutted the strategy. I'd flagged the issues twice. I'd been told, "Be a team player, Adam." And now, with numbers tanking, Nathan needed a name to pin the failure on. Mine was easy, visible, disposable. I walked out of the event hall with my spine straight, past whispering designers and marketers sipping overpriced lattes, past colleagues who looked away rather than meet my eyes. I walked into the third-floor restroom, locked the far stall, and sat down. No tears, no breakdown, just silence, heavy, burning silence. But I'm not built for pity. I never have been. I grew up in Detroit. My dad worked nights in a packaging plant. My mom did motel laundry. I earned every credit, every job, every promotion. I've been stepped on before. I've been underestimated more times than I can count. That's why I knew this wasn't the end. It was the opening scene. The Monday after the summit, I got to the office before sunrise. Only the cleaning crew and the hum of the vending machine kept me company. My laptop screen glowed in the half-dark as I dug through every file tied to the campaign. Emails, draft decks, chat logs. I traced each change that had gutted my idea, the revisions Nathan's favorite creative director had insisted on. By the time the first wave of employees arrived, I had started a private folder, Glasshouse. Because Nathan lived in one, and I was done pretending I couldn't see the cracks. At 10 a.m., my teammate Claire hovered near my desk. "Adam, you okay?" I looked up, calm but focused. "Yeah," I said, "just making sure I never get blindsided like that again." She hesitated. Then, "For what it's worth, that campaign tanked because of last-minute changes. Everyone knows, everyone didn't know or hadn't dared to say, but hearing it gave me fuel." "Thanks, Claire," I said quietly. "That means more than you think." I sat down at my desk and whispered to myself, so low I could barely hear it over the hum of the office. "They think I'm humiliated. Good, stay invisible." Then I started digging. First, it was the campaign folder, Redefined Rebellion. I opened every file, every Slack thread, every email chain. The deeper I went, the angrier I got. My original pitch was still there, crisp and alive, the kind of work that had earned me promotions in the first place. And then, like rot creeping through a house, the changes began. Last-minute slides swapped out, copy twisted into cliches. The entire campaign gutted and stitched back together under Luke Bennett, Nathan's golden boy. The same Luke who'd joined the team 6 months ago with no record beyond a slick Instagram feed and a few indie shoots. The same Luke Nathan had paraded as the future of creative. I scrolled through email threads where I'd warned, tone mismatch. Data suggests this pivot will undercut engagement. My notes were met with one-line replies. "Be a team player, Adam. Leadership approved this direction." My jaw clenched. They'd told me to fall in line, and now I was the fall guy. I created a folder on my desktop. Just one word, Glasshouse, because Nathan lived in one. And I was collecting stones, but I wasn't going to run straight to HR and scream unfair. The truth rarely wins by shouting first. I needed allies, proof, a map. At lunch the next day, I found Tanya from finance in the kitchen. She was leaning against the counter with her tea, scrolling her phone. Tanya and I had history. We'd been nobodies together once, patching up a broken product launch long before Nathan took notice of either of us. She looked up as I poured coffee. "Big show the other day," she said, voice low but kind. "You okay?" I forced a half smile. "Fine, public humiliation builds character, right?" Her eyes softened. "Nathan was brutal." I paused, letting the silence hang just long enough to feel safe. "Tell me something, Tanya. You ever get weird invoices from creative? Big bills, not a lot of output?" She frowned and straightened. "Why?" "Humor me." For a long moment she just studied me, measuring if this was gossip or survival. Then she gave a tiny knowing smile. "You have no idea." That was the first hairline crack. "Would you ever want a second set of eyes on those?" "Quietly?" I asked, keeping my voice casual but steady. Tanya's brow arched. She glanced toward the hallway, then back at me. "Send me a note," she said finally. That night, an email landed in my inbox with no subject line. Just spreadsheets, vendor invoices, campaign budgets, odd charges filed under creative revisions and consulting hours. On paper, nothing screamed criminal, but there was bloat everywhere. Retainer fees doubling mid-project, revision costs for work that never shipped. Tanya's comments were blunt. "This isn't normal." I dropped it all into Glasshouse. Next, HR. I booked a meeting under the pretense of an internal morale initiative, and Marlene from HR was all warmth on the outside but had razor instincts behind her. "Smile." "Interesting idea," she said, after I pitched something bland about team engagement. "What's driving this?" I kept my tone light. "Notice turnover seems high lately, especially in creative." Her smile faltered just slightly, but enough. "You've noticed too, huh?" "Can't give details, but yes. There's been friction." Friction, a perfect word. I tucked it away. Back at my desk later that day, Sarah, one of the senior designers, hovered by my chair. "Hey," she said quietly, glancing around. "What Nathan did was disgusting. We all know that campaign wasn't your call." Something sharp inside me eased for the first time since the summit. "Thanks," I said. "That means a lot." She bit her lip, looked around again, and leaned closer. "He once ripped my work apart in front of interns. Said it looked like a toddler's collage. I almost quit that day. I didn't ask for details. I just nodded. Another stone for glass housing, anonymized but real. Weeks passed. On the surface, I was the perfect employee, cheerful, efficient, cooperative. Nathan, satisfied with his little public execution, ignored me. That's exactly what I wanted. Meanwhile, Glasshouse thickened. Invoices, HR notes, turnover stats, screenshots of my ignored warnings, testimonies whispered between coffee breaks. Then something small but game-changing happened. The Paris pitch. Nathan was scheduled to present to a visiting luxury client but canceled last minute for an urgent brand engagement. Everyone knew that meant a photo. Shoot or gala, my director shoved the deck into my hands an hour before the meeting. "You're up," she said. "Just do your best." I did better than that. I walked those clients through a story of youth rebellion so clean, so data-backed. They leaned in with shining eyes. I knew the product, the market, the culture, because I'd built it once before. When I finished, the Paris rep clapped softly and said, "Elegant, insightful." A board member was in the room. He smiled, took notes. After the meeting, my phone buzzed with quiet support. "Tanya, brilliant. Sarah, you killed it." Even Marlene from HR sent a single emoji. And Nathan? He felt it, I could tell. He started CCing me on fewer emails, nitpicking Luke's work harder, holding tighter to control. Fear had a scent, and it was on him. That's when I pushed the first domino. I drafted an anonymous tip to internal audit, short and surgical. Review vendor billing on campaigns Q1, Q2. Potential irregularities. No accusations. Just enough to make someone open a file. Audit doesn't ignore irregularities. Within days, calendar invites bloomed across finance and compliance. Closed-door calls. Luke looked pale and sweaty in the break room. Tanya kept me updated in little nods and raised brows. Nathan's empire now had cracks you could see if you knew where to look. One evening, long after most people had gone home, I heard footsteps. Nathan strode into my office, shutting the door behind him with deliberate care. "Adam," he said, voice smooth but stretched thin. "You've been—" Busy. I didn't flinch. "Just working." He leaned on my desk too close. "No, networking, digging, making friends in finance, HR." I tilted my head, studying him like a specimen. "Is that against company policy?" His jaw twitched. "Careful," he said, quieter now. "You don't want to pick the wrong fight." I let a thin smile slide across my face. "I'm not fighting, Nathan. Just doing my job. The one you humiliated me for. For the first time I saw it, not anger, fear." He left without another word. 2 weeks later, compliance finished its silent sweep. Tanya's data matched audit findings. HR corroborated turnover causes. Exit interviews spoke of toxic leadership, creative interference, and verbal humiliation. Then the memo came. Subject: Leadership Transition Update. Effective immediately, Nathan Vaughn will be stepping down as CEO of Valon. No farewell speech. No champagne toast. Just a digital obituary of his career. The building didn't erupt. It exhaled. That morning, as I walked the floor, eyes met mine differently. Not pity anymore, not caution, but quiet respect, relief, gratitude. Sarah caught my sleeve as I passed. "Told you. You owned that room," she whispered. Later that week, the board called me upstairs. No ceremony. Just a clear offer. Director of Strategic Operations. New role, direct access, full oversight. When I returned to my desk, the same one where I'd sat broken weeks before, the world felt balanced again. And yet I didn't give a speech. No slow clap, no triumphant declaration, because the power I'd built wasn't about spectacle. It was about foundation. True power doesn't shout. It just arrives. Nathan tried to end me publicly. I ended him quietly with truth, patience, and precision. I built my own table, and now I sit at the head. If this story gave you strength, if you've ever been underestimated or humiliated, remember, you don't need to match cruelty with cruelty. Stay sharp, stay strategic, and let your actions speak. Like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more real stories of turning pain into power.